I'm going to show you how I make egg salad for about a week's worth of sandwiches, 5 or 6 sandwiches. That'll require about 6 eggs. And that's one of the ingredients you should gather ahead of time. The others that I include when making my egg salad is mayonnaise, mustard, and pickle relish. Some people like to add salt and pepper, and that's an option. As far as tools, you need a spoon. For starters, there'll be another tool or two to come, and a saucepan. Now you fill the saucepan deep enough so that it has about 2 inches of water in it, so that when boiling and you place the eggs in it to boil them, they're covered with boiling water. Now I already started heating mine, getting it to a boil. It took about 5 minutes of time for it to boil. What I did, of course, was turn on the stove and get it going, and well, I've already had it going and just turned it back on to reestablish the boiling that you see going on. And now you place your eggs in there. And I like to use a spoon to help me put it into the water without cracking. If you drop them in, they're already going to probably crack because they're cold and the water is boiling hot. And hitting the bottom doesn't help things any in keeping them from cracking. Well, so far so good. 2 for 2, no cracking. If they crack, it's not the end of the world. Yeah. So there's 3, 4, and we'll do one more.
You wanted 6.
There we go. 5 will work, maybe 6. Let's do 6. Alright, you can see in the water a little bit of egg white cracked out of this one egg, but that's not a problem, like I said. Now, you see that the water's pretty much stopped boiling, so you let it resume boiling. It won't take too long. In fact, we can probably wait here and let it boil in just a matter of minutes. Putting the lid on it helps keep the heat in and bring the boil back sooner. I still have the stove on. Let's just take a peek. It's getting close. Let me tell you what will be happening. Once it starts to boil, then I reduce the heat so that it continues to boil just slightly. That's sometimes referred to as a rolling boil, where it's just gently boiling without it going out of control and over boiling. Once I've got that going, then I set my alarm, either a nice handy one like this, for 11 minutes, or of course we have maybe a timer on your microwave oven. I'll be using the old-fashioned wind-up one here. And let's see, I think I hear yes, there they are, rolling, boiling. Now we'll turn it down just a little bit.
Can I help you?
Sure. And now it's just boiling, and we'll put the lid on halfway. We don't want to close it up, because that might get it too warm and then it would overboil again. It's kind of, you just have to kind of judge. Now I turned it down, it's still boiling in there a little bit. It could probably boil a little bit harder, so I'll turn up the heat just a little bit. And there we go. I'm pretty sure we're good. If I need to, I'll adjust it. Meanwhile, the timer has been set for 11 minutes. When at 11 minutes is over, I'll come back with the next section of this video. Okay, well, the timer just sounded, so we simply turn off the stove, take our saucepan with the eggs in it that have boiled for the last 11 minutes, pour off some of the water, add some cold water, kind of pour it off. We're trying to cool things down. And fill it up one more time like this. And you can drain it once more. And then this is just the way I do it. I'll fill it up again with cold water. Get the water over the eggs so they're submerged in the water, which will continue to cool them. And once they're cooled off, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, come back and we'll carry on with the next step. Alright, we're continuing with making our egg salad. As you'll recall, The water was brought to boil in a saucepan on the stove. When the water was boiling, the eggs were placed in the boiling water using a spoon to ease them in. The water was then allowed to return to a boil. The lid put on top of the saucepan, on top of the burner, and the heat adjusted so that it continued to boil for a time of 11 minutes. After 11 minutes of boiling, I placed the saucepan over to the sink and poured the hot water off and added cold water, and poured it off and added cold water, and poured it off and added cold water, and let it sit then for 10-15 minutes till they're thoroughly cooled. And then you proceed, take the eggs out. I might use the lid of the saucepan to hold the eggs and get all the water that was in the saucepan out, and then crack the eggs and put them in here. And you can see where one of the eggs had cracked, and so some of the egg had come out in the water and floated, even some yolk. And then we'll hang on to it, it's perfectly good. And then just to show how the egg cracking goes, take it and just give it a good couple of whacks to just get it all kind of broken up, and then proceed to pull the shell off. And you'll want to be sure as you do this, especially once you've got what you think is all of the eggshell off, just take a quick look around on the egg to make sure there aren't any little pieces still that might, like that one right there. You don't want to find a piece of eggshell in your egg salad. It's not fun. Get in, and one more to go. Of the total of 6 eggs. Again, enough egg salad will result so that you have enough to make about a week's worth of sandwiches, 5 or 6 sandwiches. I like to usually spread it on bread and put some lettuce or spinach on it. Again, check for the little fragments of eggshell. There we go, it's looking good. Hold those away. Okay, now if you have a smasher, like a mashed potato smashing device, that's fine. I'm going to go ahead and just use what's handy, and that's a fork. And just get them initially broken up like so. And just gotta be patient. We're not trying to get it too terribly mashed up yet. Just break them open. And I'm gonna turn this over to the faithful assisting hands here that are off to the left to smash them up. And while she's doing that, I'll go to my first ingredient here, the mayonnaise. I like to get a larger spoon and put in, let's see what it looks like here. There's one good heaping spoonful. I'll plop it in there. I think we can put 2 for sure. You can always add more. It's sort of hard to take it back if you put too much in. So start off with that much. Then some mustard. Adds a nice flavor. Also adds a little more color. Let me sneak in there for a second, and just give it a good, get in there close. See how much I put in there? Just a nice amount. It's no set amount. It's sort of what you like. And then I do enjoy the pickle relish. This is sweet pickle relish, and I don't take a lot of this, but a regular teaspoonful roughly. Plop it in there. And there you go. And you just keep mashing it up. Okay, so that's with the fork. If you have a potato masher, take a look at the end of this. There you are, something like that. That really does a nice job of mashing
Much easier.
Mashing up the egg salad. And just keep going. If you like it really fine, you keep going. You know, it's kind of sizable chunks. Some people like that. And just keep mashing it around, getting into the corners, the edges of the saucepan. And I'd say that's about done. So start to clean that off. Now we're going to bring in, you could bring in salt and pepper. I don't usually add those. If anything, maybe pepper. There's a lot of salt in the mayonnaise and the pickle relish and the mustard. Now,
May I put in a plug for light mayonnaise?
okay, you don't need all the extra calories, that's true. Okay, now, next is to put it into some storage. So I've got a nice little container here. And then we proceed to, and if you've got a spatula, of course you could use a spoon to transfer it into the storage container. And we'll clean off the beater or the smasher later on. That's kind of fun. You get to lick the beater, if you will, the masher. And so then just use the spatula to clean out as much as you can, or just a big spoon will work too. This gets a little bit easier and more complete. And then you put the lid on it, and you do need to keep this in the refrigerator. It will spoil. Similarly, when you've made a sandwich, it's a good idea to keep the sandwich in the fridge at work or wherever until you're ready to eat it. And there you have a nice pile of egg salad, and you can make yourself a sandwich a day that might normally cost you $7 or $8 for pennies.